So today is June 2nd, and I'm calling to order the Open Space Committee meeting. Tonight in the meeting and on the call, we have Christina Hoffman, Jim Dooling, Mike Carbone, and Sadie Woodward from Newberry Planning. I'm not seeing any citizens on the call today, so we're going to jump right in to our agenda. Today we're going to review the action plan. We have a bunch of work to do there. And then we're going to discuss the action plan map. Hopefully, we have something we can kind of look at and brainstorm over a little bit. And then I know that we have to kind of get this thing going with some deadlines. So we're going to review the next steps, maybe put some times and dates to that. And so, yeah, and that's going to be a pretty full agenda. So, has everybody had an opportunity to review the meeting minutes?
Yes.
Looks good. I did too. Thank you, Mike, again. So then I'd like to move to approve the minutes.
Yep, I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I
Okay. Um, so we had an action plan. It was a draft. We all had an opportunity to comment on it, send those in to Sadie. Some of you put a lot of work into it. I think there's still a bunch of work that can be done and more comments perhaps and some decisions to be made. But maybe Sadie, seeing how took all the information, kind of fed it into that draft that we have now, maybe you want us to start there and then that'll just trigger, I think, discussion between the rest of us.
Sure, yeah, that sounds good. So
And then maybe, well, I'm just going to interject here because I took your version, Sadie, and I kind of, we talked about is there any way to simplify it? And so I took a stab at simplifying it, but yet I really kept all of the items. I just created more goals. So maybe you can talk us through at a really high level of like what you did, and then you handed it over to me, and then I'll talk about a high level of what I did, and then I can share my screen.
sure, that sounds perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I I mean, I appreciated everyone's comments. I thought they were pretty straightforward. And I pretty much just, went through the list and I found a couple things that could be maybe incorporated into um the summary, like the section 6 summary. But um I pretty basically just, made the edits that you had all suggested. If you asked for something to be reworded, I took a stab at rewording it. Like, for example, I think 1.2B, which was establish a program to regularly monitor existing town held CRs. I think I reworded that a little bit to work with and assist the conservation agent in regularly monitoring CRs. And so just like little rewarding things, mostly. Um, and then I added in, Bill, your comments that you sent separately as well. Um, and then yeah, that's basically everything that I did. It was a pretty quick process. Great comments. And then yeah, I sent it over to Christina.
Yeah. No, I thought it was, it's looking really good. So let's see what people think about this. I didn't necessarily see any requirements in terms of how you had to lay these out, other than they wanted you to have goals and objectives. And so I am going to share my screen. Oh, actually,
Oh, can you? I'll make you co-host, which I think you need to do to share. All right, try it now.
yeah, it's just being,
Is it working?
let's see if it will let me do this. Okay, yeah, I was trying to show them both at the same time, but I'm just going to show them one at a time, I think. So it's just showing the one that I'm scrolling through, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Hey, Sean. Nice to see you. Didn't mean to. All right, we can see you going for the unmute button, but just we're all saying hi. Okay. So we had goals, right? We had like goal number one, protect Newbury's natural resources. Goal two, meet Newbury's current and future outdoor recreation needs. And goal three, meet the needs for municipal management. And then we had objectives under there. And then we kind of had tasks underneath objectives. And I, instead of having these very broad ones, I tried to refine them. I tried to categorize all the action items that we had identified and combine them into um, a bigger, oh, there it is, a bigger one. So I'm going to stop sharing. For some reason, it won't let me share both screens at the same time. I'm going to share the second one. Here's a revised version, and I haven't taken the time to move everything. Can you guys see that in purple? Okay.
Yes.
So I just
Yeah.
made more goals. I made mobilize and secure necessary resources to execute on this plan, protect undeveloped and important open space resources with conservation or recreation value. So that's like get new stuff. Goal three is maintain or enhance existing stuff. Goal four was enhance community awareness, involvement, and stewardship, kind of our public outreach piece. Goal five is like maintain. I wanted to come up with the right words for this, so I'm very open to anybody wordsmithing any of these. Maintain engagement with municipal offices to facilitate implementation, and that's where like the Concom comes in, the DPW, like planning board, whatnots. And then, I struggle a little bit with the recreation needs because I can never get it in my head like where the line is between open space and recreation because Newbury has it like so defined in terms of open has recreation committee that deals with central street fields. So I just sort of took a pass and I just grabbed a whole bunch of objectives that were listed under that and the existing one and I put them there. But for sure, that one might require a little bit more help depending on how we're trying to think of recreation, because all of the open space is recreation. So, but that if we use that philosophy, we might want to change the title of this. So then I made all of the individual tasks, I just made them objectives. I just kind of used the SMART philosophy, and we can take this out later, but it was just like, what are we doing? Is it measurable? Like, how can we do it? So that they were more discrete tasks, which we're just going to call them objectives to follow the state's philosophy. So I didn't copy over, the lead support, which was filled out for most of these things on the other one. And I added in some ones based on my review of the SCORP because I thought it would be good to weave in some of the language that the SCORP was using for recreation. So anyway, that's basically what I've done, and I'm happy to, keep going or change directions.
I mean, I think this makes a lot of sense. It's more applicable to what we've been working on. The SCORP, I saw it in, I think it was a workbook or whatever. There was a section specific to the SCORP. Do we incorporate or do you envision incorporating the SCORP throughout the whole document and try to apply it to different sections, or should we just put the SCORP as like its own section and incorporate that into action items?
No, I think that we should weave some of the data from SCORP into the narrative. So maybe we can talk about that after we talk about this, but like there are some things rolled into here that are from SCORP. For instance, SCORP has like four main goals, and it's like develop trails, and I had them all listed on the side here. I shouldn't have taken them out because I was using them to make sure that we got some of them in. But they had four big goals that the state is going to basically spend their money on over the next 5 to 7 years. And so I tried to hit the ones that seem most relevant to what we had already put in our action plan, but I tried to use their like nomenclature.
Yeah. And those align pretty well with a lot of our goals, right? Just the goals on the score.
It did. There were some that like focused in a little bit on so goal number one for the SCORP is to improve access to beaches and water-based recreation facilities. So we do have water-based recreation, so I wove that one in. Goal number two is support trail projects. And so I did add in some action items that were and objectives that were specifically using the word trails. Like, let's map our trails and see if there's any linkages that we could be working on as like help part of our prioritization. Goal three. mm, let's see. I think it was related to like, oh yeah, enhancing playgrounds, in parks, or something along those lines. And so I didn't totally focus on that because that's where I felt like maybe it was leaning towards the recreation department, but I'm happy to reverse on that.
Mhm. I
Does
mean, that
anybody
makes
have
sense to
any
me.
thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense to me too. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know, the rest of the committee.
I can I can I make a comment?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think um like incorporating the Scorp as much as possible is awesome. I don't think we need to like highlight it too much. It's just I think it's kind of like, you know, how they want us to be referencing the master plan and referencing like the hazard mitigation plan and just like the relevant areas of the plan. So like the goal that's related, like that our action plan goal that's related to recreation, I think it would definitely be prudent to use the SCORP in that area. But yeah, Christina, that looks really good to me so far. I like your structure there. It's definitely more digestible and attainable. And I like the SMART goals, like the SMART like formula for um
I
like
was
making
trying not to
action
sign us up
items.
for too much because it's like, that requires, in order to be smart, it has to be like, we're going to create a plan. It's like,
Right.
okay, how many things
Yes.
do we want to create over the next, and like, what's our timetable? So, I tried
Very
to
true.
leave some things a little looser than I normally would in my day job. But, I, anyway, I haven't even posted it yet. So I can email it out to everybody. I can do whatever it makes the most sense. I can send it to you, Sadie, and you could post it on the website maybe, and then folks could take a look at it. And if we kind of, you know, well, anyway, let's keep talking about it. But that could be like a good next step.
Yeah, you can if whenever you feel like you want to send it to me, I can definitely put it in the Google folder. And I know one of the things we wanted to discuss was the timing and the funding source categories. And I was talking to Kristen today, and she was saying that her and I could address the funding source categories. Like we don't necessarily know exactly what all of our funding sources are going to be for each item. It's potential, but she's very knowledgeable about what's out there and what could be applied to which area. Um, so she suggested that we work on that in the coming weeks. Um, but yeah, she suggested I mention timing as well. She kind of had the thought of like I think Hudson's action plan said has them like each item is like has a designated year, like it's year 8 or year 4 or ongoing. But that's kind of hard to, I mean, maybe they had a system for determining that, I'm not sure, but Kristen had the idea of just sectioning it out into like short, medium, long term, which we might have discussed already, but I think that might be the best approach. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but
So short, meaning like in years 1
like one to
two
three,
or 1 to 3, right?
like
Yeah,
one
by
to three
thirds.
could be the short term,
Yep.
4 to 6 could be the medium, and then like 7 and 7+ could be long term. And then there could also be the ongoing category. Um,
I think breaking it up into thirds like that makes it more digestible. But recognizing that medium and long may begin, before, right?
yeah,
In the
I don't
sense,
think I don't
yeah,
think we're gonna I
no
don't
one's,
I actually don't know if you can retroactively revoke approval of an OSRP, but I think we can kind of, do whatever we want with it once we've
yeah,
got it.
I mean, this is essentially just a straw man or high level roadmap of how
Yeah.
we're going to proceed. Yeah.
So,
And
no, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, I mean, by putting them into the slots of near term, medium, long term, we're essentially prioritizing, right? So,
Yeah.
or sequencing in a way that makes sense because like if a medium or long term one could have dependencies on something in the short term. But
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah, and I
go
did
ahead.
see in the plan that it said that, that the whatever timelines we put in there should be like really flexible because if all of a sudden an opportunity could come up that
Yeah.
we didn't anticipate, it was a long-term goal, but we should jump on it now, or like we don't get any opportunities for a short-term goal, so it ends up being long-term. So I'm feeling like we could just sort of ballpark this and it would be okay.
yeah, I would agree.
I like the fact that if we do buy these three buckets, and I don't know, Christina, the number of like how many do we have now? 20 or so actual
So yeah, 3 and 7 is 10, 18, and
more,
6
a
is
little more. Yeah,
24,
because you
and
added
5
more.
is
Okay. Yeah.
29, 33.
Yeah. We're well down from the 100 plus from the old one. So like, I mean, if we're at 30, then it's 10 per time period. That just seems like much more manageable.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe we go, I mean, should we just read through them right now and just decide short, medium, long, and maybe we decide to cancel some, or I don't, what do you think?
I
Just to
like
fill
that
in
idea.
this category?
Yeah, I like
Cancel,
that
like
idea.
cancel
Sorry.
as in wipe it out, like not include it,
Well,
or
if we decide like it's so
yeah,
long that we're never going to be able to do it in the year, in the time period that we're looking at.
yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that there's still a bunch of questions in here. As a group, we could make some decisions on real quick too. I think further down, I saw some questions.
Okay. I mean, do I want to use our time like that? I also want to make sure when people review this, not necessarily live right now, but when you do review it, that everybody makes sure that like, your reason for being on this committee is reflected here, if
Yeah,
that
I
makes
think
sense.
everybody has a little bit different areas of expertise or knowledge around the town, and just to make sure that whatever that is captured in the plan. That's kind of how I thought of it too.
I guess, hi, by the way. Uh, it's Sean here. I guess my observation would be that short, medium, and long term, uh, when we're talking about that, we're talking about uh, end goals, right? I mean, that a short term goal starts the same day as a medium term goal, starts the same day as a long term goal. They just end at a different point. Is that what we're talking about? Did that make
Well,
sense?
it could be that, but it could also be that a medium one, depending on what it is, might not start right away, right? I think we need to, I mean, wouldn't it
Okay.
be like our committees, we would have to decide which ones are going to be, the active or in progress ones. And so, yes, some could that are farther out could be, in a certain sense starting now, but in a very light touch manner, depending on what it is, right?
I guess what I'm saying is there are certain goals that by their very nature are small, medium, or large. And well, uh, the the question is when do there's when you look at the horizon of when we're going to actually get all this accomplished,
Right.
uh, you might put a small term one off because it might take a year to get it started, whatever, and work on a medium term one in the meantime, sort of, etc. Um,
There's
How
also
about,
so
does it make
Well,
sense to then, I see what you're saying. So should it make sense for like high priority things, like the things that we want to get started on sooner versus medium priority, which we maybe need to put off, or we have to do something else that's high priority first before we can get to it, and then lower priority versus short,
okay,
medium, long? I hear what you're saying that those words can be confusing. What do you think is most descriptive?
I guess that's
I
what,
guess
yeah, go ahead, John. Sorry.
I guess what I was saying is recognizing that a goal is either small, medium, or large, depending on the scope of the work involved, essentially, and that how they get organized is going to be more of a matter of priority, like you say. I do like that idea. So, I mean, you could have a large long term goal that you want to start right away. That makes sense. But likewise, something that's a short term goal. In other words, it's short in duration. Maybe you can put it off for a little while, whatever, or maybe it's something you want to tackle right away. So those two things kind of have to go together. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So you're talking
Maybe
about
it's
the size, like the sizing of the effort, right? Like, or the complexity, right?
right, right.
Yeah.
I was thinking, Kristen also mentioned to me today that just the order in which they're listed can be a way to organize them by priority. So I
Right.
like
Okay.
we could do both. We could like list them and indicate somewhere that, they're sorted in a particular way. We could list them like the first objective under each goal is the highest priority for that goal, and then, lower down are not as pressing. And then you could also say like in the timing um column for each thing, how long or like at what point it makes the most sense to start the task, or talk about length of the task maybe.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a good,
Yeah.
interesting question. Is it when we want to start or when we want to finish?
Right.
Mm.
I think organizing them in a kind of a priority order might make a lot of sense. Maybe to an outside reader, that's not us too. Like this is what the committee's doing, this is what they're starting with, kind of thing.
And actually, it in a way, I mean, it's difficult to assess how long these things would take. So
Well,
that's another.
yeah.
Yeah. We don't really know like the sizing or the level of effort, right? And they could vary greatly.
And some stuff might be forever, ongoing, you know what I mean? Constant,
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
without a definitive timeline to it, For communication with town leadership, for example. We know that that's cyclical and that's always changing. So that will always, be something that the committee's working with and on,
Okay.
kind of
How do
thing.
I
I
mean,
guess the question I have is how do we get that across in this graph?
I,
I guess
I,
I'm
I
okay
get,
with all of that, really.
I mean, I guess what I'm hearing is like years 1 to 3 are phase one, right? Or the short term coming up. Medium years 3 to 5 are phase two, and the lower stuff or longer term 5 to 7 is phase three. That you can have a single item either be like phase one only or phase two, one and two, right? To indicate that it's going to take longer duration, but it's still high priority, right? So there's something along those
Mm-hmm.
lines, so we could, I don't, it all depends on how we want to
Oh, okay.
these labels that you're putting in are great to, we should just decide on one. And I think I used phase, we could use another word, but
Yeah, I agree with it. I mean, this is good discussion. I think that
Yeah.
do our best to prioritize under each goal, acknowledging that even multiple objectives could be working concurrently within the same goal. Like, I think I can't read it, but it was like prioritize properties and then talk to, um, land conservation organizations. We can do that at the same time. We don't need to like get one all the way done, then we can start the next step. So as long as we get it close,
yeah,
and then and just try to scale it the timing appropriately, then I think that's the best we can do. The one thing I'm looking at long term, and maybe it's just me, I'm confused. Christina, you have 1 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 7, but isn't this a 10-year plan? So that should be
Yeah, I
one.
couldn't remember. Is this a 10-year plan or a 7-year plan? I just had like, I was just thinking
I thought it
about
was 10. Yeah.
It's 10
It's
now.
10?
The approval will last 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Good.
But
We'll
we don't
change
have to wait 10 years. Just saying.
Right. If we want to do this again, we could do it again after
That's
7.
Start all over again. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
Fresh piece of paper.
Okay.
All right, is that better? 27 to 37?
Yep.
I kind of like, Jim, I like your, could be the whole thing, right? I was just sort of testing this out.
Right.
Identify and pursue funding sources. We're going to do that the whole time.
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, and that in and of itself is ongoing, right? If we are
Right.
doing all three phases.
Oh,
So,
yeah, that's true. We could just do
Yeah.
that ongoing. Yeah.
yeah. That was just my thought on, and then but I think, anything phase one should be high up, right? Indicating it is priority,
Yeah.
I guess.
I wonder, maybe we should try to prioritize and then talk about the duration
Right.
rather than,
Okay.
so it's like, I don't know, I hate to put it on us because I'm not sure really how we would even estimate that, but
Yeah.
maybe we have an idea. We could certainly put it in there. And I guess my thought on this stuff is, if we find out we're wrong, we can come back and fix this. This is not fixed in stone. So,
Agreed.
but we just guess, right? And
Yep.
Yep.
guess what the duration is, prioritize, and then, and of course, the funding changes all the time. I mean, every year it's different, really. A lot of the stuff.
Yeah. We'll keep that one ongoing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do we want to move these around right now and prioritize them together as a team?
Yeah. If I
Yeah.
can read them. Okay.
I know. Can you? There's 3 on the first one.
Okay.
That order probably makes sense for the first one.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll wait till everybody gives the nod.
Yeah, how do you want to rank these? Do you want us to do it and then send it to Sadie, or should we?
Well, I think we just did it. So we just got these 3 in order. We just prioritized them.
Agreed. And then timing.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I feel like this is gonna have to be I don't know how we want to say it. We haven't landed on it, but phase 1, right? We're gonna do that soon.
Yeah, or was that short?
See, I almost feel like this is also phase 1.
This is what I'm afraid of. Everything's going to be number 1.
Right.
I know. That's, yeah. Well, for the first one, I think that's probably okay. But
Okay.
Any more comments on the first goal?
I almost feel like goal one is just an ongoing thing from the
Right.
get-go.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Is
We'll go
is
to.
Can I just quickly ask on 1.3 there? Like, is investigate a sustainable local source of funding? Is that going to point to CPA? Is that like, or am I not
So I
reading?
took mention of CPA out of the action
Right.
plan just
No, I
because it
know.
seems
No,
like it's a
of third
fire
grade.
starter.
Yeah. Yep.
But I don't know because I don't know what the options are. And our public survey said that people would be willing to take on a small tax increase.
Yep.
And I don't know that that has to be under the CPA. It could just be some other way. So
Yeah.
that's why I left it open.
Right.
I
think-
talked to Kristen about that today too, and she was saying, and I was like, yeah, we're kind of worried about putting CPA language in the plan because it's very controversial, and we've heard some outspoken citizens that are not in favor from the survey, and we need to honor that. But we can investigate, possible mechanisms. Doesn't have to be a CPA, like basically like what
Right.
you're just saying, Christina. Like I think investigating or researching possible options is not controversial. Like I think and it doesn't mean, we're going to implement anything. And we also don't have control over that. We can advocate, but it's ultimately a town meeting vote that would have to implement it. That would be needed to implement it. So
Are you okay with these words?
Well, maybe wordsmithing, not that we want to get into that because we'll be here forever, but just have it not be singular. Investigate sustainable local sources and mechanisms of fund or local sources of funding and mechanisms to support the goals, or something like that. Just so it's a little more, wider sounding. That's just my thought at the moment.
I like it.
Okay,
Like it. Yeah, good.
great.
All right, and we're good. Like early, ongoing early.
Mhm.
Okay. So goal 2 has 7. So this one might take a little up, and there's one that you can't see. And this is like getting new open spaces, protecting undeveloped and important open spaces.
Right, Bill. Everything's phase one.
Yeah, bring it on.
Well, it's tough because so many of these things go hand in hand with each other in
Yeah.
this category.
Yeah.
Mine is like you just noted about the meetings with other town committees.
Yeah, there's another one down below that talks a little bit more about like interagency within the town of Newbury coordination. So we move this one down there.
I guess, so where do you say you can cut paste that?
Yeah, so this one down here is maintain engagement with other municipal or with, within the town to facilitate implementation. And I just wonder if that would be better, that goal would be better to be down here.
Isn't that already in 5.1 kind of? Like, or am I
Yeah, and you know what? This one, 5-5, is kind of the same thing. I was just like throwing in
Yeah.
the last ones before we got on the column. 5-5 might be the same as 5-1.
Yes. So we could consolidate or merge those and then
Yeah.
pull the one from section 2 down here to, and you could say to support the above goals or to support the ongoing, ongoing activity, something along those lines.
Oh, you know what? This is engagement with town departments. This one is outreach and education opportunities, but it also is to town departments. Okay. I
And the
almost
one we were
like
just looking at was more about committees, wasn't it? It was like the
Yeah.
it
historic.
was about the agricultural commission. It was like
Yeah.
very specific. Mm,
That is different.
where'd it go?
I think they're all good objectives too. I mean,
Right.
so we should include those in our action plan. So I'm
Okay, well,
actually
maybe
okay.
we grab this one and we'll move it down and then we'll come back and we'll prioritize. Because it is got a little different flavor to it. And then we'll just keep this one. Reaching out to all the departments and boards. Okay.
Right.
So we at least made this a little bit more simple. So now let's see, how do we feel about the prioritization? I almost feel like I would put town properties above reaching out to land trust because I feel like we want to know this 2-1 and we want to know 2-2 before we get to 2-3 before we get to this one.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
2-1 is kind of handled by the maps that Abby and her team from Greenbelt did a little bit.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, if we just want to adopt their ranking, then yep. Which y'all are the professionals, so it seems like I don't know that we could come up with anything better.
I am not smart enough to write a computer script that does what they did. So I will happily piggyback on their work.
I mean, our output for this can say we're going to partner with Essex County Greenbelt and take on their prioritizations. That could be
Right.
a check.
Yeah, and we could keep it more generic with like land trusts too. We don't know what maybe like an Audubon or trustees might be able to bring to the table there as well. But I know that we don't have the resources in town to do what Greenbelt did, for this plan. So it would have to be an outside collaboration. MVPC, maybe. I think we'd have to feed them a lot of that information for them to generate it. Whereas I guess what Abby and Becker are doing, it's the same criteria town to town all over the county. It's not, necessarily tweaked for every individual town, minus if no data is there for that town. Like we didn't have any heat island stuff,
Mm.
I mean, if we put that specifically in the plan, do we need sign off or the work seemed like it's already been done. It's just like you can't say, yeah, we're just gonna have Essex Greenbelt make our list for us. Maybe
How about we just say, is this what you're thinking? That in collaboration with local land trusts?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a resource currently that's in the plan, but we could be working with others to add to that outside of just, one organization.
Yeah, we could go to trustees and see what they've got going on. Yep.
Especially with all their marsh work and everything else, leading the way in that stuff. That's, a whole other aspect that could potentially get incorporated down the road.
So how do we feel then about the bottom 4?
Well, I think the last 3 are just like it's an ongoing thing and it doesn't really matter. They're all the same.
Yeah, they're all ongoing.
They're all, yeah, it's all the kind of the same. So it doesn't really matter the last three what the order is.
Sadie, do open space developments automatically require public access, or does that still have to be negotiated in one of those?
I think
If you-
open space residential subdivisions that aren't in the MBTA district, they're all public. The open space is public. I it was I'm not sure how it works within the MBTA districts, but I think because there was one 34 Central that has open space and a trail, but it's going to be private for the new what's it called? Like the big development, the big multifamily housing project. So I think it depends on the zone. But I think in residential agricultural zone, it's public.
So we're pretty good with this prioritization then, because some of them are all ongoing at the bottom.
I am.
Yep.
Okay. Goal 3, 8 things. Okay, this was a Scorp one. We can take this one out if it doesn't resonate. But I thought it might help us just to put it in there. Mm.
So 3.6 and 3.1 are different.
So 3.1, and I'm gonna maybe add this. I'll add some words. Trail extension, parking, educational, kiosk area. So this one was, do we have some existing open spaces that could be enhanced by leveraging a town-owned property that happens to be nearby, like at or nearby? And then this one was, someone had written that we need to develop a management plan for town-owned conservation and otherwise protected open space areas. So these are conservation areas versus just like town-owned properties.
Gotcha. I'm seeing the difference now.
Just a point, there's a typo in 3.1. It says that are have potential. It probably should be that are or that have, one or the other.
Thank you. Yes.
Feel like 3.2 would go under 3.6. Like the management plan would influence that. Summary of barriers, would come out of maybe developing a management plan.
Yep.
So it's interesting. Let's talk about this one. This was a summary of barriers on any of the land that is like open space that people are using. So it's even like sending a list to Greenbelt about like some barriers that we're hearing from the people that live in Newbury or the trustees that like have a barrier. It was kind of based on the survey results where people had noted what their barriers were.
So not specific to town-owned
Right.
properties. Okay.
To enjoy existing open spaces. Maybe I'll clarify that.
maybe throughout the town or something.
Town owned and
Land trust. Yeah, remember. Yeah.
Public.
I don't know, is there anything that's privately owned that's existing open spaces? Yeah, right, because didn't we just say that there's some private lands that are getting developed that have open space? Or do they deed those rights to the town? Sadie,
Yes.
when you were just talking about subdivisions and they have to have some public open space, does the
Mhm.
town own that land? Or do they just have the rights and it's actually privately owned?
I think the second.
Yeah, I would say it could go both ways. Sometimes that open space can get assigned, right? Like we've ended up owning open space in certain developments, like Scotland Woods down the end of my street here. We're the open space fee owner there, but it was set aside as part of that development. But then we have a situation like Caldwell Farms where they own the open space, but public access is guaranteed, essentially, but
Right.
they're the landowner. But the open space was restricted, and in the restriction, it required public access.
All right, so how about this? We'll
It could
summarize
go
that
either,
all by town
go
owned and
either way.
non-town owned.
Yeah, so it could go either way depending on the situation,
Okay.
which
And
doesn't
that's
have
why it says we're going to share the information that we gathered with the appropriate stewards of those properties. We'll share it with Greenbelt or trustees or Caldwell Farms.
yeah, Caldwell might have been negotiated that the town was going to handle trail development and all that stuff too. I can't exactly remember how that was written when Kristen and I looked through all that stuff, but they can all be tailored specifically to the situation.
But a private property could have a conservation easement on it, and Essex Greenbelt would hold that easement, right? They'd enforce it even though it's still privately owned, and that could be open to the public.
It could be open to the public, but it's not guaranteed that it would have public access. A lot of times, if there's an existing trail system that's been used for a long time, that'll get incorporated, as a recognition in the restriction, to continue it, to continue allowing that.
Mhm.
But as a private landowner, if that's not guaranteed in the restriction, you would have the choice to allow public access or not.
Yeah.
So they're very case by case, to use my predecessor's favorite term.
I feel like this map existing open space trails to identify gaps should be earlier.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like I want to do it before I do the barriers. The barriers is just kind of more like I
Might
don't know.
identify barriers like
Yeah.
connectivity and stuff like that,
And this was in there, so support the Border to Boston trail development. I wasn't really sure, like I don't have a specific and measurable thing. So if anybody has any thoughts on how to reword that, we don't have to do it now, but think about it when you're reviewing later.
I mean, the trail development, they're in one segment. The north part is in early feasibility, and the south segment is still in design. So,
Yeah, they're in different phases of development. Some are a little
yeah.
earlier,
So
some
I
are
think,
later.
I mean, if we're saying development, I think it's fine to leave the word development, but I don't know if it has to be in the first. That might be a candidate for being in phase two.
Yep.
Just knowing
Well, I was thinking that we would support them like right now, like whatever the processes that are going on right now as they're kind of developing feasibility studies and the engineering designs. That's where I was actually thinking that we should stay plugged in.
Yeah, I mean, you could put it ongoing. It's fine. Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
there a
ongoing, probably, yeah.
section in there where it's more generic, just support uh the effort to create and manage trails or something? I thought I saw that. Or maybe when in your version you changed it. Um,
It's bordered about some of them. Anyway, well, we can leave it loose for now. Any other changes in priority?
Mike, were you saying the development and management plan number that, yep, that line should go ahead of the
Anyone with
barriers?
this?
Or
I was originally thinking that until we fleshed out that barriers
right. Okay.
line there.
Yep.
So I was thinking the management plan might identify that stuff, but I was thinking town specific. I wasn't thinking all landowners in town when I first read it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Do we want the barriers up high here? You know, again, I was trying to pull this from the public survey and the barriers that people listed, but it doesn't have to be at the top priority. It could just be on the list. We could move it all the way down.
No, they're one of those things that we just do. It's ongoing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have David Powell in my ear, about Great Meadow and some of these, town properties that the town's owned for a while and, purchased or was left or whatever, and nothing got done with them, or they never got fully utilized or developed for their potential. So, I think it's important to,
All right, we'll leave it up there.
yeah.
Borders to Boston, it seems, could fit in with 3.2. Maybe combine those.
The mapping existing public open space trails.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that what we're doing?
It is kind of a linkage. That's a good point, John.
Mm-hmm. So
Like
this
to
is
say
a
what?
mapping exercise. Yep, I agree. And so we can make this broader.
You could do,
It was
say,
like
for
just a mapping
example, or
exercise
something
to
like
help
that.
us. And this one is like actually being part of the group that's making this happen.
In a
Is
way,
that
it's
too
already
ambitious?
mapped out for us, but
Right.
Say it
yeah.
again.
In a way, it's already mapped out for us. But
Mm,
I kind of, I don't know. I don't want to get too imaginative here, but I can certainly imagine offshoots from the Borders to Boston Trail in a lot of different ways. But all right,
I mean, Sean, I think you could, like you're saying, I think, couldn't it be on that last part of 3.2 that it says potential future trail connection linkage projects,
right, exactly.
including the Border Boston Trail,
Right.
and I know there's more to it where Christina, you're saying support the broader efforts, but
And it would get rid of a whole item here.
exactly. And on top of that, I mean, the Border to Boston is a committee, so we could put it down in the committee stuff.
oh,
True.
yeah.
Good
Okay.
point.
So just
Right.
kind of, yeah. But
I like it.
Yeah, I like that. I just
Okay.
I like it because like what objectives are like a lot more like narrow, specific, short term, and they're measurable steps to get accomplish the goal. Just supporting is not really a measurable thing. So if you incorporate it in the way that we're doing it, and that's kind of a general comment. When I was reading this, I was thinking more of goals, objectives, and objectives are measurable. So just kind of generically supporting this thing isn't necessarily, we could write it a little bit more strongly, I guess. That's all.
All right, I'm good with taking it out, or we'll just, we just have that reference up there. So
Yeah.
All right, we're
Okay.
down to we did the first three. Let's do the last three. And this is like the community outreach. We can call it whatever we want, but that's the frame of mind we're thinking of. feeling like this needs to go down because we're not there yet. I feel like first we could maybe identify properties. Create a map. Disseminate information. And I'll see how that looks.
Oh, okay. 4.1, I know it's already pretty wordy, but again, just channeling David again. Maybe add something about well, mosquito and mosquito, greenhead, and tick
Ticks.
infestations in various and sundry areas.
Yeah. Maybe maybe we put that up here. So including like, for example, info on the flora, fauna, water quality, natural hazards,
Yeah, natural hazards, pests, whatever. I don't know what
plants
that's
and
probably
insects.
it's probably a delicate way to put it, but yeah.
Quick question on 4.4. So the status of town, or what do we mean by status there? Are we talking about um
I'm not sure who wrote this.
yeah. No, I just
So
wonder if it's overlapping with awareness of like is it conditions of the trails? Because I know we talked about that at one point versus
I think it was like, yeah, condition, and I think it was like,
Like
I
the
don't know, something that like
situation.
what we want to do with them, like what the town or what the committee has in mind for that.
like improvements, you mean? Or
Yeah, like the status, like this, there used to be like it could be too super like, um, like, abstract. Like there used to be a trail here. It's kind of overgrown, not really like just kind of address or assessing
gotcha.
possibilities and potential of the property.
and how often do we think that would change? Like how many times would we update that in the course of 10 years? Like every 5 years?
Yeah, like maybe once at the start, once in the middle of our time, and then once at the end,
What if we said,
or like update it periodically. Yeah.
Yeah, like as needed, right? Because like I'll keep going back to like the Caldwell example. It was like 20 years from when the open space got set aside there to when a trail got opened up,
really?
right?
Yeah.
So like I'm sure, David, there were a lot of people in town that, didn't forget about that and kept wondering like when, you know what I mean? So just thinking of a specific example, now it's open. There's signage there. There's a place to pull over and park. There's a trail, so it's like completed, and making that known to the public, I guess. And what other things like that, are around and either need to be improved or have been and, are now, I hate to say available because they were always available, but um, um, more user friendly, more, I don't know, I'm blanking on the right word there, but I think,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was this one, Sadie, specifically for town-owned lands, or like in the case of Caldwell Farms, is it not also non-town owned?
I think we could include non-town owned since since sometimes there's like not town-owned land that is open to the public and can be used by,
Okay.
like, can be improved by the committee in some way.
Just public. It's probably fine.
Right.
Yeah, in that instance, it was the town that was charged with, implementing and developing the trail system there, even though it was privately owned.
Mm, okay.
So,
All right, any other changes to the prioritization of 1 through 6? If not, we're gonna go down. Oh,
I'm sorry, before we move on, any chance we can move 4, 6 up a bit? I'm not sure where we would put it, but it seems like
Yeah.
part of, almost seems like that's the whole point of this section in a way, but
yeah, how about that? Once we create a map, then we can like hand it out to people when we're out there.
right, something like that. Because,
How about that?
okay. Sure, that's great. Thank you.
Want it higher?
Okay. No, that's fine. Great.
All right, second to last one. Top 5 here. Let's look at these.
The assumption in 5.1 is that the rec committee is part of us or kind of attached. I didn't know if we should be calling them out or they're part. I mean, we have it in the second one, so I guess it's not necessary. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's like we either add it here or we add them here.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Or just change the wording to not reference OSC, but the OSRP instead.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I like that.
That includes it.
And then we'll be silent on this.
Yeah, good.
Good.
Oh, and it fits with that one too. Good. So is 5.5 kind of redundant with what we just did in goal 4? Am I missing?
Which
This seems-
one is it?
5.5
Well,
looks
I mean,
like it's
Which one is it
Sorry,
similar
this is-
to?
I'm thinking it's almost the same as what we just did in 4. I forget where we moved it, but I think it's 4.3 or something. Basically, outreach to people. Well, I mean, all this stuff here. Enhance community awareness. Obviously, the town committees, et cetera, would be included in that, I would assume.
So this is public outreach. So maybe we just say that. Public outreach.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then this is town office outreach, municipal offices outreach.
I think 5.1 and then the last one in 5 is very similar. So we meet, you scroll down so I could see it. We meet annually with town committees, but then we establish a schedule of outreach, town department boards and committees. That's kind of the same thing.
you could to identify initiatives and establish
Educate.
education. Yeah, educate.
Okay.
Yep, exactly.
That sounds too condescending, so I'll find a different way to say that.
Yeah,
But I
right,
get it.
right.
We don't expect you to do this on the fly.
I don't really know what this means. Other than like,
So that's exactly what I'm talking about with objectives is like that's very nebulous. It's like there's no measurable thing that we can just let like 10 years from now, they can be like, okay, so demonstrate how you support it.
Right.
I don't know, maybe. I think it's
did
a
we take out the like water quality things? Parker River, support Parker River Clean Water Association, Pie Rivers Land Trust. This is water-based recreation. And so this one is support other local nonprofit. It's just like support anybody or like encourage.
Well, it could be a little more concrete. I know in the Borders to Boston committee, me and Sid are actually we sit in on the Coastal Trails Commission meetings as kind of a formal, not really formal, but an informal thing.
Sort of a form of partnership. I mean, right?
Right. I guess encourage outreach to partner groups, something like that. Maybe if we could fit that in there somewhere. I'm not sure where, but or I don't know. You're right, though. I mean, how do you judge whether we're attaining that goal or not?
Yeah, encourage is a tough one to be smart on.
Yeah.
mm,
How about identify other local nonprofit public-private groups and establish.
Or how about part?
we could.
Oh.
I'm sorry. What we could do is we could report on established partner relationships with town committees, et cetera, around certain issues. We could do that. Certainly, that's doable.
I mean, this is like other, identify other. I don't really know other from what other than the ones that we already mentioned here, or maybe just other. Okay. Identify local nonprofit public-private groups working toward preservation of. And
Or what about partner with local nonprofit to, but I guess measure that would be how do you measure it?
I think it's
still
like and reach out to them at least once.
Yes, but at some point we're going to redo this OSRP thing. So certainly reporting on, what our connections are with all these groups isn't such a bad goal. It's liable to happen anyways, though. But yeah,
I think this one is measurable. We can identify and reach out to groups. Doesn't say what we're going to do, but at least it says we're going to do something.
Yep.
That's what I reworded the 5.1. I said identify initiatives that can, so I don't know. I was trying to get something measurable by doing that.
Yep.
Okay.
So we said we worked with this group and we identified that we can collaborate on this or we supported this, I guess.
okay.
Yep.
Very good.
All right, last one in goal 5. I'm not sure where this one came from, but it seems like a good one. I was just, and I dropped it in though. Okay, so I wove in Department of Public Works in order to make it work in this section of like working with the town offices. But it was really written originally, I'm not sure, Sadie, if you wrote this one about Mass DOT engineering directives, or somebody added it in, and it seemed like a good reference. I was just trying to find a place for it.
Sadie, you have any idea on that? What 90 section 2A of this Mass DOT is? I don't.
This definitely came out of the '08 plan. And I think it had a lot to do with access out to Plum Island. There was no designated bike lane going out. There were no bike lanes anywhere. Rail trails were very much in their infancy at that time. Connectivity didn't exist. And I think that was like my recollection, it's kind of like helping to push for that and plan for that. I think there are
Okay.
plenty of good existing situations today, including the Border to Boston, trail initiatives that are happening. So I don't know. I don't want to say that it's not relevant anymore, but I don't know if it's worded the right way that we might want it to read today.
That's a good point because the resiliency plan for Plum Island does include bike access, special lanes, and all that, including around that new rotary they're envisioning and so on.
So if this is like tailored towards Plum Island, do we want to take that on? Like in the next 10 years, do we want our group to put some effort towards that? Or
Maybe
are there other state roads that we think that we might want to use these resources to advance the ball?
I know that we're all linked, but like part of me feels like it's more of a planning board kind of thing with roadways and stuff like that, more so than whereas like Border to Boston and stuff like that, can be on and off road, and there could be real open space, committee aspects to that. I don't know, that's just my initial thinking with reading this.
Would anybody
Yeah.
be opposed to taking this out?
no.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to have. Like, it's a goal. Is it attainable
Right.
in the next few years for us? It's there's a lot on here. If we didn't do that, that would be, we could put all our time into that kind of stuff.
Right.
So
We could change
Yeah.
the wording so it's not as specific. We could talk about just in a general sense, conforming to state of Massachusetts and other.
How about we take out the state stuff?
Yeah,
I like rewording it. Why don't we take it
I
out and just
agree.
talk about accommodating bikes and pedestrians?
I agree. Like, we've worked with other communities, DPWs, to just have a crosswalk installed to make a connection to an open space area, from maybe there was parking somewhere across the street or whatever, because it's both bicycle and pedestrian accommodation. So yeah, I think having the DPW in there as one of our municipal, engagement things here makes sense. And we could leave it a little broad, so it could kind of cover many things that could come down the road related to our open space efforts.
Yeah.
I
like
yeah. DPW installed the parking for Caldwell, and maybe eventually there's a sidewalk that takes you there, right? And that, maybe we can influence something like that, that access to existing open space.
Yeah. They changed the whole Route 1 rotary there to accommodate Rail Trail 2 access.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
All right, how do you like the new words?
that's good. I like leading with
like it.
elaborating with them.
Okay.
Do we need to say the planning department anywhere, or is that just implied?
Well, I think, we didn't get into all the
Yeah.
the categories on the right there,
Right. Okay. You're right. Yeah.
It could be combo open space and planning, right? Like
Right.
planning might
Yep.
bring the
Hmm.
I don't know, the process, the correct process to implementing something like that, and we might be bringing the, we need this for X open space and rec,
Yep.
yeah, we're kind of within the planning department in a way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Actually, we are, I think.
All right. Oh, any more refinements to the this order?
I think it's good.
All right.
I like it.
Good.
It's getting there. Okay.
All right, last one. 4 of them.
Woo.
And again, we can also take this one out. We can refine it. This was the one that I was like a little unsure of it was about meeting Newbury's current and future outdoor recreation needs, whereas the other ones kind of focused a little bit more on open space, which is also recreation. So just keep that in the back of your mind.
I guess I should speak out about climate change here because that's where this would fit in, I suppose.
Mhm.
Beach management plan and climate resiliency or something like that. Yeah, that would be great.
How about that? Good ad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one is develop. I wasn't sure if it's develop more accessible open space user resources. I would like to reword this a little bit, or if it was like develop more accessible, as in those two words go together. So this kind of actually 6.2 kind of goes with the one that's right above a Scorp one. Shoot, where is it? Create opportunities for a wide demographic to enjoy protected
Yeah.
natural resources. That's kind of seems like it says the same thing, and that was maintain or enhance Newbury's public open spaces.
Yeah,
Do
you could
we-
put it in there.
Do we want
You
to
could-
keep both or take some out?
You could put ADA or well,
Yeah, I think you could combine them, but I do see the difference there. And I just think of like some friends and stuff that have kids that are, they're handicapped. And I've talked to them about access to boat ramps and things like that. So different demographics is pretty broad. I think this is the ADA compliance thing is important.
So why don't we take what that element of this and we put it up in the enhancement section?
Makes sense.
Yeah,
I
sure.
like that.
Sure.
Create opportunities for a wide demographic to enjoy protected natural resources and areas, including various age groups, because also Newbury is getting old. So
Yep.
we've got sort of that older, and then we want younger, and then we want people with lots of, a wide variety of physical adaptations.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to create those words right here live, so
Yeah.
just know that we're going to have to come up with this one.
Yeah.
Accessibility of,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I think accessibility is probably the word to.
it covers a lot,
Yeah,
Yes.
and it doesn't bind you to an ADA compliant
Right.
situation if unless that's what you're actually trying to do. If you say ADA, it's got to be ADA, right?
Yeah.
But if it's accessible or more accessible or increasing accessibility, that can be a lot of different things. That can be, a gentle trail, not a, legit, paved, full blown, mobility device kind of thing, just, I think it just leaves it a little open.
Okay.
Yep, that's good.
agree.
That is good.
Really good. All right, so we'll take this one out. Now we're down to 3.
I don't know if you're going to get different owners to agree to consistent signage.
I wasn't sure what this meant. I assumed I added the parentheses and I can take it out. So whoever owns this one, if we want to refine this as needed.
Well, a good goal would be to get increased signage for sure. Consistent would be good, but it seems like an additional.
So that's under is, do we have this already covered? It's a good point. So if we're enhancing existing spaces, if there's a barrier, including signage,
Oh, there we go.
Mhm.
maybe this is already covered under this enhancement?
You
Yeah.
could certainly
And
put
it's working with the
consist-
appropriate stewards, so whoever manages.
you could put consistent signage or something along those lines. um, just to add that little
Yeah.
bit.
Maybe we leave it open. I do agree with Mike that it's going to be a hard sell. Okay, so we can take this one out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then there were two.
Yeah.
And part of two kind of falls under increased accessibility as well, can fall under that kind of heading.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, for example, we worked with the city of Gloucester to get their Cape Ann Transportation Authority to, we installed signs at properties so that they could be bus drop off points. People that might not have vehicles, might not have bikes, might not live close by to a place to recreate or enjoy nature. Not that we have that situation, that service necessarily in town here, but that was an example of how we tried to create more equitable access in one community.
Parking would be a
Well, yeah, parking too.
to look at.
Yep.
I almost think that most of that goal 5 there
It's already.
should sort of already be in everything else.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Not sure why we really need to break it out separately.
All right, so I do feel like this is covered then. It's a wide demographic. It's sort of a broad brush above, but that does cover this one. Does anyone feel strongly we should keep this one here, 6.2? Or do we feel like it's covered?
I am thinking about it a little bit. I think like the one up above is like, I just think the scale is a little bit different. Like making natural areas, protected natural areas in Newbury accessible for age groups, various abilities. I think that's a little bit smaller scale than work with neighboring towns to provide better access to Newbury's natural protected natural areas. I think that's going to be a process that we need to address and begin, but I think it's going to be a different than what that other upper item is saying. And I think mentioning that is important because I feel like all the comments I've gotten from like Kay and just she's always going like, talk about, how Newbury fits into its surrounding environment, like in surrounding towns, like talk about open spaces that are shared between towns, like just constantly like asking for more information about ways that Newbury collaborates with neighboring towns and like provides those opportunities for, populations outside of Newbury. I think we should have something talking about regional access.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that too.
She does, Sadie. Go ahead. Go, Sean.
So how do you access these resources is one thing. And also as part of the outreach, reaching out to regional partners to let them know that this is something people can access and how to do it, that kind of thing. and no harm, of course. And it would be nice if MEVA, had a convenient bus stop somewhere that people could take advantage of or whatever.
I
So
wonder
yeah,
if I do wonder if 6.2 should collaboration with neighboring communities and regional partners to address Sadie, some of what you just said around, because Kay's comments, it wasn't just about recreation equity and underserved populations. It was like shared resources even, right? Shared properties,
Right, yeah, like
shared open space. So
the Great Marsh is totally a perfect example.
that's yes.
Um, but I just feel like they're gonna be looking for that, the
Yeah. So maybe, I
ACS.
mean, this could be just stay and it's kind of, I mean, in terms of having it truly be measurable in a smart sense, I don't know. But
Yeah.
so it could where it says regional partners to address um shared or I'm not sure what the words are. Something beyond that's what you just said, like an example of the Great Marsh or other shared open
yeah,
spaces.
it's maybe address and promote
Yeah.
regionally, what's
Yeah.
available over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does this last one, so okay, we'll keep that one. Does this last one, or the 6.1 really, it's management plans for town-owned active recreation areas, including a beach management plan. Again, I get like a little nervous because I know that the rec committee has a master plan. And
Right.
do we also address creating a plan for town-owned lands up above? That's for open spaces. Now I can't remember. So it wouldn't be the new, it would be the and maintain and enhance. Review them, make a list of parcels, map, summary, create opportunities. I almost feel like that one could go, oh, develop a management plan. So we already have this one.
Yeah. And my brain's doing the same thing. This one's for conservation, and the one in 6 is for recreation.
Ah, shoot.
My brain's doing the same. But I mean, we can incorporate them together. If we're trying to eliminate 6, like if 6 can get flipped into these other categories, because otherwise all we're going to have is the um, neighboring communities line in 6. You know what I mean? If we pull the management plan for rec up into the conservation one, we'll only have 6.2 down here. And does that
I
make
was thinking
sense?
that maybe we move 6.2 up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you
Maybe we
want to add
should,
resiliency
oh, sorry.
to the other one.
Say again.
Just add resiliency as well, just to put it in there, climate
Right.
resiliency. So conservation, recreation, climate resiliency, and other stuff.
And going off your rec committee comment, it's not a bad thing
Oh,
that they
okay.
have a completed plan for Central Street. That's a check in the box there. That's one done, right? That they
Yeah.
done and that they work with, and you know what I mean, and it's good, and they have their process for updating it and working within its framework.
Okay. And I will acknowledge I took out the A. It's not a management plan. It's like however many we need for conservation lands, recreation lands, otherwise lands. Okay.
Good.
In one sense, I
So
like saying including the beach management plan, but in a way, I kind of think, it emphasizes that as something different, which I don't know. I wonder if it really is, but
yeah, we
leave
can
it.
take it right out. Um, Whoever put it in there, if they're on the phone, do they have a strong feeling about it? we do have water. Water-based recreation, improve access to water-based recreation areas. But
Yeah,
that's not a
that's-
beach management plan, but it is access, but not actually beach as in the sand.
I'm actually not sure what that means, but because my suspicion is I actually don't know what that means. It doesn't make really a lot of sense to me, but I can imagine what it might mean, like no dogs on the beach kind of thing. But I don't think that belongs in this plan necessarily.
Everybody okay with that?
Yep. I think that was an 08 carryover as well too.
Okay.
And the dogs on the beach could be a barrier one, right?
Yeah, capture that in the other one.
You know,
So
not
then,
yep.
Blame
so
it
we just
on-
got rid of this whole thing.
Yep.
Well done, you guys. We just refined the whole action plan in an hour and a half, less than an hour and a half.
Well, you wrote it, so
Yeah.
that's great.
No, all I did
That's
was
where-
repackage it.
I don't know.
That was awesome.
I think
Okay,
you did a
so
great
I
job.
will.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Sadie, I'm going to send you this version to post so people can make any final comments because I know it's hard to really review it live.
All right.
And then maybe you and Kristen can work on the lead support or
Yeah.
the other 3 columns.
Yeah, that sounds good. So they're all organized with the first one as the top priority. The first one in each goal.
Yeah.
I think that's where we landed.
Pretty much.
More or less.
There are going to be a lot of ties. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then timing, we like the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 ongoing system.
That was my favorite one out of all the options that we talked about. That was my
Alright.
favorite one.
As
but-
long as we have the key there, showing the years, I think makes sense.
Cool.
I'm gonna delete all these then, okay? Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Awesome. I'm gonna stop sharing because and again, make sure everybody, when you review it, you make sure that whatever you're passionate about is included.
Mhm. So, one other thing that we kind of touched on was ensuring that the survey results are incorporated in the action plan. I know you looked at that again, Christina, and I saw some notes that you sent to Sadie. I guess that maybe how do everybody feel about that, or maybe do we want to take another stab at it? Or I guess in your review, Christina, how did you feel? Were they incorporated appropriately?
So when I reviewed Sadie's good summary of the results of the surveys, I pulled out the ones that were sort of overwhelming. Like the results were, oh gosh, of this question, everybody was sort of like on board with this. I kind of grabbed the top answers of things that could be rolled into an action plan. Not like I do it for mental health, right? Like those results just didn't feed into the action plan. It just kind of informed the narrative before the action plan. The things that I came up with, I think are in here. There actually was like no additional variety of recreation activities are required except for tennis somehow. It was like just more playgrounds, more trails, and more tennis. Contributors to scenic and rural quality is trees and forests, bodies of natural water, and open landscapes. So in terms of the things that we want to protect, undeveloped, important open spaces, I didn't necessarily list out those words, but I felt like the essence of protecting those. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'm going to even change one. I'm going to say protecting with open space resources with conservation, scenic, or recreation value. So I will add in the word scenic. So if anyone thinks of an action that we could refine to include any of those words that contributors to scenic or rural quality, feel free to say something. The top 3 barriers to access open spaces that directly fed into, let's make a list of the barriers. How do they find out about open spaces? I wasn't that worried about that. They mostly find out about conservation organizations, but they didn't ask for anything in that one, but they did later. The highest priority for recreation-focused activities was marking of the hiking trails and creating a hiking trail guidebook. The only thing I didn't put in, I would say, is a develop fee-based summer programs for elementary school children. And this, I think, was the question that the rec department added in to the survey. So I didn't put it in here, but it was a top answer. We could use that as a talking point when we go back to the recreation department and say, we didn't include this in our action plan, but you all had identified it. And so we'll leave it with you, or do we want to add something in here?
So it was like education. Does it fall? Is it something that could be folded into our outreach and education action item? Or is it?
Yeah, enhance community awareness, involvement, and stewardship. Support the rec department in their creation of fee-based summer programs for elementary school children. No supporting.
So it must be independent of the school system because like there is a summer-based, fee-based camp program through the school. But it was different when I was a kid. It was like a recreational camp in town, like throughout the summer that you could just drop in and drop out of. You didn't have to like sign up for a week and go for a full week. You could just show up on Monday, come back on Friday, whatever. It was kind of like a rolling program when I was growing up.
Is that something that the open space and recreation plan and that like we want to tackle?
I'm kind of struggling with how relative it is to open space in the town. It seems more of a rec department initiative.
I agree.
So we could raise that point next time we talk to them.
Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
this is something the town wants, but it's a little bit outside the scope of the plan.
That might fall under their when they talked about having like a full-time like rec person like on staff of the town, that could be
Yeah.
something that ends up like if that position ever got created, recreation manager, whatever they called that when we met with them. I would think.
So yeah, let's leave it out then for now for the action plan, and we'll raise it with them when we're chatting with them to make sure that they're aware of those results again, which I think we did already tell them that, but we'll tell them again. So that covers that item for the survey results incorporated. I feel pretty good that they're reasonably incorporated.
Okay. Good. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks, Christina. You did a really good job leading that and taking the initiative to really do a good job and pull all that apart and reorganize it. We have had some discussions about an action plan map. It is on our agenda. I think Sadie asked if you could maybe pull a map, generic map, maybe it was Mike's map. If everybody's up for it still and want to keep plugging away, we could discuss about developing this map. I think what it would be like, if you look at the Hudson plan, there's a really good example of what they did. Essentially, they have a map with call outs pointing to specific areas, describing potential action item projects or areas that could be further developed. So we could, if people have it, I mean, I think this is something that the committee all said that we wanted to include in our in the plan.
Is that one of the required, like it might be one of the required maps too, right?
I think it is.
Is
Required.
it? I'm not sure if it was required. I thought I read that it was optional, but recommended maybe.
Okay.
I remember saying that, like having conversations that we would do this, but like we just finished going through the action plan and we did not identify one specific area that we were going to focus on because we're so far at the beginning.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten there yet. So maybe we should make it a goal. Anyway, I'm having trouble envisioning what that map would show based on the action plan that we just went through.
When I initially looked at this and I was in my head building this plan and looking at Hudson's, I'm like, okay, I love how they did that. We can do that too. When I saw that map, I was like, that map's great, but what would we put on it? And I'm looking at this section 7 right now. I don't see anything about a required map unless maybe it says it some other place in the workbook that I'm missing. I mean,
We
we
had
can,
one in the 08 or 08, 9, 10 plan. There was one with call outs. Trying to like look through this shared drive to see if I can find it.
Mhm. I'd
There's
be
Ken.
interested to see how many of those were completed.
Yeah.
I mean, like borders to Boston, maybe that would be a cool one.
Yeah, that because that's tangible. We could identify that, right? Because we, or at least we know where one portion of it's going to get laid out.
Mhm. I think improved beach access and signage, that could be one. There's been talk about, isn't there been talk about town parking out there too?
On the beach.
Yeah, I thought there was a lot of town-owned land.
Yeah.
There's a lot
David.
there.
And yeah, that was David
Yeah.
wanted that. Yep.
Thought we sold all that, but I don't know.
Yeah. I only go as far as Surfland. I actually never go to the beach, so I don't know.
So border to Boston was one of them. We just said what beach
Access and
access
signage.
signage.
Should we put it as an objective though, or add it into an objective that
I'm
we
kind of,
a fleshed out one and we could put it like in, have it by phase 2 or something? I don't know, because it seems like it would be a little skimpy
yeah.
unless we, put a qualifier around it saying.
I mean, I'm good with that. That's kind of what I was thinking in the beginning because I
Yeah.
just didn't know what else. Like, we don't even have funding sources. Like, there could be like some private lots or lands that we want to like that abut town land that could create like corridors, or we want to prove aquatic corridors. But I mean, without even, we're just getting warmed up. I think to come up and put some lofty goals in there would be, I don't know, be difficult.
Why don't we put an objective that says we'll have an action plan map for the next iteration?
Well, you'd think a lot of our objectives would influence that development as we work through them.
Exactly.
I'm just thinking about management planning to identify what exists, what needs to be done on certain properties, the mapping efforts, all that. I think would lead to down the road being able to actually develop one of these maps that would have some teeth to it.
It's almost like a top 10, uh, direct set of work on properties, or as opposed to governance and other kinds of, planning and so on.
We do have a goal that says develop a method of ongoing communication with the public to continue to receive feedback during the implementation of this plan. We do have some maps in here as deliverables already. I do like how Hudson did it. They're like, try to get some land over here. They didn't like call out this parcel without talking to the owner. You know what I mean? Like they were very general on this map that we're looking at. But yeah, I feel like we just can't have a map for this one. So
Yeah, I guess, Sadie, you think it's a required map. Can you confirm if it is or isn't?
Yeah,
did
I
not.
was just looking in the workbook and I'm trying to remember.
Because
I don't remember off the top of my head.
the base map that MVPC made for the map updates is the open space map that shows,
Right.
Protected land, conservation easements, chapter lands. It shows everything, open space related on it as the base. Hmm.
Yeah, they don't have any examples of an action plan map either. That I can.
Could be a question for Merrimack Valley. I mean, they're going to be reviewing this one more time, right? So
Yeah.
I would say that we're really leaning towards not doing it this go around.
Yeah. It's wild if you look at our open space map next to Hudson's, just the amount of protected land that we have, that we're fortunate to have in town.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to say there's almost no room for that broad of a map in our plan. I think we'd want it to be more specific when we get to that point. If that makes sense.
yeah.
We just don't have these big gaps of unprotected areas. We're fortunate we don't. They're smaller gaps.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The only thing I could think of is if we wanted to point out things that are sort of already in the works that kind of align with the goals we just talked about. For example, we could talk about the Borders to Boston Trail. That we could talk about the bike lanes going into Plum Island. Uh, uh, Beach erosion planning or whatever, if we had something along those lines. Or actually, uh, Bill, what you were just talking about, the Locken Road Dam and reforesting the riverbank, that sort of thing. Those things are kind of like in process already, and it'd be nice actually to have something like this saying, okay, we're not doing nothing. This stuff is happening. So, and I suppose if I think part of the problem is we don't have any real specific things that we've identified that we really, we're going to stop doing this unless we say, fix that Great Meadows parking lot or something. You know what I mean? We don't have anything like that really. But maybe we should.
Well, I think in the action plan, that's what we've said. So we're going to identify these things. We just haven't done it yet. It'd be tough on the fly right now to develop some goals.
No,
I understand what you're saying. I'm looking at like the lower green. It's like, yeah, we'll throw the lower green because that just got approved in town vote. Turn that into historic.
Right.
But I'm like, I don't think that's really the purpose of the map. Is like, I think we need to develop these further rather than just steal things that are already going on, because we don't have it like the Larkin Dam stuff. We didn't have anything to do with that. It's happening in our town and we support it. I mean, hey, I showed up, put sticks in the mud, but I don't think I don't think that wasn't as a result of any effort on our behalf.
That was happening with or without us.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's see what Merrimack Valley says. And then I think it's a great idea. That's something that we'll do. We're going to do this.
It's interesting. I just found the town of Northfield, Massachusetts, has an action plan map, but unlike the Hudson one, there are there's 6 of the 11 boxes in the map are floating without arrows because they are more in line with like our
Hmm.
objectives. They're post updated trail maps, opportunities for stewardship volunteers, and blah, blah, blah. Prioritize chapter 61 areas, things along those lines. So it's sort of their top. Um, their language describing that map basically says it's a summary of their priorities, and then it says the complete list of action items can be found in, section blah blah blah. So, there's some language around it that kind of just it's basically saying it's a top priority, but it's not pointing to specific properties for most of them. So we could consider that after we hear back from Merrimack Valley.
I think that's what we would have to do. It'd be something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really interesting, approach if we have to do it. Yeah.
Agreed.
Right. Maybe we don't. Yep.
Excellent.
Okay.
Okay. So that sounds good. Next steps. I know that we talked about a timetable. Do we have any other development on that or action items, things that as a committee we need to do? The next steps where we're going from here.
I mean, I'll just say in 1 minute that I sort of mapped out that like how do we get to the end here? And even where I felt like I was trying to push it a little bit, push the envelope a little bit, it came out to November, like maybe around the holidays to like we're really getting signed, sealed, and delivered. So just to like level set everybody's expectations about how long it's going to take to step through the next like 5 steps to get to the end. I will find that document. I'm so sorry. I don't know what I did with it. I was trying to use AI to put it into a schedule. Somehow I don't know where I put it. So I will find it. But that's just my little message there. But I think I did review Kristen's section 6, and so I'll send you my comments on that, Sadie, because you sent it my way. And anybody else who wants to review it too. And I'll send this other one.
Yeah, if you send that to Sadie, perhaps Sadie could share it with us and we'll use that at our next meeting. We'll go over it, everybody review it and make sure that you're on board on it, or have any other thoughts. But I agree, being realistic. I know there's a lot of steps to that we're gonna have to do, so I'm not that surprised it's gonna take until this fall to push this thing out the door. Good. All right. So is there any other member updates in the group?
I have something. Joy was asking me if you all could send her an email each individually about if you were re-upping your term for fiscal year 2027. She said she sent you an email a little bit ago to all committee members asking to update her on if you will be continuing your posts.
So we staggered it. So I re-upped for 3 years. I know like David did it 1 year, and I don't know about everybody else. David was pretty adamant about not having to do it annually. So I didn't get an email, but for whoever did get one that signed up for 1 year, I think that's who she's probably talking about.
So
Yeah.
you re-upped fiscal year, the beginning of this current fiscal year for 3 years, or staggering it, right?
Yeah, yep, I did.
Okay, so yeah, that's what I thought. So
Yeah.
I
guess
responded to Joy. I got her email and I wrote back.
okay.
The website shows just Mike and David as the ones expiring this June.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like I went in to sign the book and she's like, you already signed the book. So, and she told me
You
to go
went
away.
in recently?
I mean, when was that? Was it in the winter?
No, the last time we got together.
Yeah, recently.
Yeah.
'Cause I think the select board in their one of these June meetings that are coming up is naming the reappointments or whatever.
Yeah,
Not gonna lie, I lagged and she sent me a reminder and then I jumped right on responding. I think she
uh,
sent it originally like 2 months ago or something like that, and I just spaced on it.
I know I had to re-up for Borders to Boston, so, but open space, I'm good for another year, I guess. So yeah, I think that's how we
Okay.
decided to do that. Yeah,
I actually think I had to send mine to the select board.
yeah, that's what I did too.
Did you do that, Sean? You send it to the select board for B2B?
Yeah, you just send them an email, or you can actually show up to the meeting. Either way, it works. Yeah.
Okay, great.
But yeah, and I got a confirmed receipt from her too, for me. Just FYI, Sadie.
Okay, cool.
Great. So then the last thing is just picking our next meeting. I don't have unfortunately tonight, my phone is dead. So I don't have my calendar. So what would the normal meeting date be? If we,
The third Tuesday of June is June 16th, but there are 5 Tuesdays, so June 16th is only the third of 5 Tuesdays. So do we want to, that's in 2 weeks, the 16th, so we
I
could still
cannot
meet
make
then.
that meeting, so
You couldn't?
just saying. No,
Okay.
but
Do we want to push it?
We're
to-
on vacation for 2 Tuesdays, the 23rd and the 30th.
Both you and Bill?
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
I could do it earlier in the day or something. Well, somewhat earlier. My evening is booked.
okay. Do we want to do a different day of the week?
Wednesday or Thursday?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
would be fine. Yeah.
maybe a Wednesday.
Wednesday would be better because the 18th, some people have Juneteenth off the Friday. So
Mhm.
that would be like a Friday night on the 18th. So how about the 17th, Wednesday night?
Yeah.
Okay.
That works.
There is a planning board meeting that night, which I usually attend and take notes.
What time is that at?
7?
We could do a 6 to 7. Just an idea.
Yeah. Are people able to do 6? Is that
Or
so I know I'm supposed to be tagging down on the Cape that day. That doesn't mean that I can't call in. If we do a Zoomer,
yeah.
it might be in a truck.
Or a Monday night?
Can't do Monday the 15th.
Mm,
So, I mean, might we have to pick a date that everybody can't make?
Hmm.
Which is not ideal.
No.
What, so just
What
so
about
I,
next
just
Thursday?
so, oh, what were you gonna say?
What about next Thursday?
What are we gonna? Well, I guess
I was
if we're
gonna
gonna,
say like what's our homework? Like should we, depending on what we need to get done in between, we could wait a really long time or we could meet really soon.
I mean, I guess that's a good question. I mean, we need to review Merrimack Valley's comments, and what I was thinking is that she has comments in everybody's section. So whatever section you wrote, go in and refine your section based on her comments. If I saw my comments, I skimmed some of them. Some of them are just like remove this comma, but there was some other things like this is like here's a good resource. Maybe you should incorporate this into your section. So I would say that's one thing we have to do.
Yeah, and if you are reviewing your section and there's question or comments from Kay that you're like, I have no idea what to do about this, Kristen and I can definitely help with writing anything that's confusing or out of your purview, I guess.
Sure.
Can
There's
we get access to the Word document so we can actually make changes and check changes?
Yes, I uploaded the draft with Kay's comments, and you all should have access right now. It's in the OSRP folder, in the OSRP draft folder. It's the only one in there at the moment. And
Awesome.
the the old versions folder has all the old stuff. I've just been putting it all in there.
Yeah, the link you sent us works. I checked it out
Yes.
earlier
Yeah,
today.
this morning's email. Yeah.
Great. I'm glad.
Yeah.
That it works. So yeah, feel free to do suggesting mode and make all your edits.
So if we do that, then
So-
really it's time to start meshing all these things together into one document and editing it. There is some what is this section? The action plan section. There is like several paragraphs that need to be drafted and written still. It's well laid out in the workbook on what should be done. They did a good example again in the Hudson plan. That's the one I look at. So that's something else that could be done. But I think a lot of it's just an editing exercise.
Okay. So do we want to leave like to absorb all of Kay's comments, do any needed research on what she commented, write the comment, like write the edits that she's asking for? Do we think that reasonably, I mean, is that 2 weeks or a month of work? We still want to do more action plan revisions. Where did we land?
I think we got the action plan. We just need to fill in the rest of the columns.
Right. And
Mhm.
that's me and Kristen. So that'll probably take a good while as well. At least 2 weeks.
Well,
Right.
the next step that we're aiming towards, I think, is that we're going to compile this document. Does it need to go back to MVPC, or do you think that we can refine it ourselves now because we were going to submit the draft to the town boards?
Are we doing the public meeting first before we do any more?
No, because we didn't want people to change it dramatically and at the town boards and at DCR. And then we had already showed it to the public to the point where we felt like we had to show it to them again.
Okay, so we're going to boards first after we're done with this draft, and then the public? Or
The public the town boards incorporate their comments, maybe send it to MVPC if we think, incorporate comments, and then do the public review.
okay.
So yeah, by the time it goes out to the public to review, it's pretty much a finished document. I mean, it is a finished document.
In which case we should maybe have DCR should be before the public. The first preliminary draft to DCR. Do we want to do that before the public?
And incorporating any feedback from them,
Yeah.
which could take a
Sure,
little
we don't
time.
have a massive hole somewhere.
Yeah. So Mike, when you did it last time, did you go through the same process where you had a second public feedback session? Because I'm just wondering, like, someone come in and be like, "Oh, you guys have it all wrong. You need this, this, this," and all of a sudden we're like, "Whoa."
I can't honestly remember. I know the former plan has like the survey results, and I think it has maybe minutes from a public meeting in it. You could pull that and look and see if there were two. I can't recall if there were two public meetings or not. I know there was one.
Yeah, I was just curious. I'm just like trying to see how this is going to go.
Yeah. We didn't have a lot of participation in the last one.
Yeah.
It was really, the committee drove it. We had the public meeting because we had to. It wasn't heavily attended. So I don't think we had a lot to pull from that at the time.
Gotcha. Well, I said we could go back, work on our sections, incorporate those comments, and then reconvene in a couple weeks. And then maybe it'll be a shorter meeting. And then but we really need to finally like pull this together and identify any gaps. Like in section 7, those paragraphs, those are the ones that come to mind, and pull this into one cohesive document.
So do we have a date that we wanna meet next? I would really prefer not a Thursday, but any other day I can really do.
What was the problem with the 17th? I forgot already. Sorry.
There's a planning board meeting that night. I can also talk to
Oh,
Chris
okay.
and, you know,
Oh, okay.
I'm not, always pivotal to the planning board meeting, so I can maybe set that
So-
one out.
If we did,
How about 24th? Oh, no, you guys are going to be on vacation.
no, we're away. How
I mean, you
about
can
if
meet
we-
without us. Like, we could get our stuff done before we go, and you can meet without us. That's an option. Like, I feel like we're maybe not going to find a date that everybody's going to make it. It seems like because we're in a busy time of year.
Right.
It's 6 p.m. on the 17th. Wednesday the 17th is not good. I know that's early and it's summer.
Oh, 6 to 7.
Well, just so that Sadie, before
Yeah.
I know it's it's hard to be in
Works
a
for
meeting.
me.
Yeah, I think I might use run. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Everything I do is dictated by the way. I have no idea what it's gonna be like, but I'm supposed to be on a boat. So, but I can call in. I'll be driving back, and if I can't, you guys can meet.
Yeah.
You can also continue the meeting and I can leave. I mean,
Yeah, I
Right.
agree.
Yeah.
that's also an option.
6:30. Yeah.
Let's do
No
that,
problem.
So 6 p.m. on June 17th.
Mhm.
which is a Wednesday. Yeah,
So it seems
Alright.
like we should do it on Zoom.
Yeah.
Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay.
definitely,
Agree? Okay.
definitely. All right, I think we did it. It was a good meeting. We got a lot done. Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody. If there's nothing else, I'd like to move to adjourn.
I'll
Second.
second.
Beat you.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you, everybody.